welcome to our latest video in the Head in the Cloud series, hosted by Citrus Global. I'm here today with Mohamed Bouallegue, who is the CTO at Cinemarket. So look, Mohamed has been working in the startup scene for over 7 years in both Germany and internationally. He's worked for companies such as Booker Tiger, Moving Image, Holiday Pirates, and of course now Cinemarket. So welcome, Mohamed. Nice to have you here today.
Hi, thank you, Michael, and yeah, glad to be here. And
great.
Yeah,
great stuff. Well, I know we had a few technical issues previously, so I'm glad that this seems to be going off without a hitch. So that's good. So so let's just jump into it then. 'Cause obviously, this sort of series follows the journeys of people, through lockdown and and obviously coming out of that, and hopefully what people's experience have been and what people have learned. So if we sort of roll the clock back a few months, so the start of lockdown. I mean, how did you find it? How were you personally during lockdown?
so for us, it was a bit different than other companies because we're a small team here, and we work usually every day at the office. But we were a bit at the beginning of the lockdown. We had to work for the first 2 weeks fully from home.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, actually, we were a bit worried because, like everybody else, we didn't know how serious this pandemic is, and yeah, we see the number of cases getting higher, and there's a lot of worry. So we just decided to get this in. And also, we didn't take very serious at the beginning because we were going to work, but slowly you start seeing the public transportation getting emptier, and it was a bit scary,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, so we worked for the first 2 weeks, 2 weeks from home. Well, we have already some remote team that works from. We have team members in France and in the US as well, and also we have some developers that are in Croatia. But we usually work 5 people here every day, and we communicate a lot.
Okay.
So it's important to be at the office. So in the beginning, it was a bit not super productive, honestly, because we were not used to that. We were used to just ask a question to the person next to you when you need it.
Sure.
And then we went into like, yeah, you write someone and he's answering after half an hour. And so yeah, we had to change the way we work to adapt to that. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because I mean, there's not many people I've spoken to certainly that were in the office as early and for as long as you were. Probably not 9 out of 10 people I speak to were working from home for an elongated period, and some of them still are. So that's really interesting, actually, that yourselves were kind of in and working through for the majority of it. I suppose that you might have found this different then, because obviously a lot of people's frustrations were around the fact that you couldn't just talk to someone, you couldn't get an answer with what you needed. You were in lockdown for a couple of weeks, and I mean, were there any specific frustrations or any kind of frustrations that you guys did feel even though you were still in the office?
Yeah, well, there was frustration, as I said in the beginning. Well, it was not long, but yeah, there was a lot of misunderstandings, and also I see a lot of waste of time in like something that you could have solved in just one question if you were sitting next to each other. That escalates, and as I said, like misunderstandings happen. So we realized that, and since we have already also a remote team, and we realized that we need to organize ourselves more and establish a better process that minimizes the risk of this kind of situation. So we did that. We worked on our process, and yeah, we made sure also like knowledge is shared because that's where misunderstandings come from. So we make sure like all the knowledge shared between departments. We have now, instead of 1 weekly call, we have a 2 weekly all hands meeting, with one at the beginning of the week, one at the end of the week. And honestly, that helps a lot, actually. Yeah.
So you in actual fact, so despite being in the office more than most people, in fact you did change processes, you did change the way in which, and has that have you carried those changes forward now that you're?
We did carry them forward, and actually even in the office we don't have to communicate that much right now, which is also good. Yeah. This small period of lockdown for us taught us something at least. Yeah. So we learned something from it, and yeah,
interesting.
It improved.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What lessons have you learned? So, is there any sort of biggest takeaway, biggest lesson that you can that you think you guys have learned, or you've learned it from this period?
Yeah, as I mentioned, like we had to improve our process, improve our communication, and that was not only for the period when we were working from home, because we see the impact of it here right now, because we have a team of 3 developers working remotely, and we were because we had also to work remotely, we realized the challenges that they have also in not being every day at the company, and you cannot blame them if they're not aware of everything going on there. Yeah. So we were just assuming like why this situation happens and so on. But it turns out it's only like you make sure you share this knowledge and you establish a good process, and then you can avoid most of this situation.
I think it's a really good point actually, Mohamed. And do you think now that so your team that are working remote, your remote developers, do you feel they've been integrated much more and integrated better into the team now because of the new processes?
Sorry, what do you mean exactly, Michael, by integrating?
When I say integrated, I mean, do you think that they now feel more of part of the team? Do you feel that they feel more part of, that they understand much more about what's going on and what the needs are, so that they can, and perhaps that they can perform better as a result?
Definitely, and I think every company should work on that. Do not assume that every employee will be aware of everything, because if you don't tell them things, they will not know about it. And that's basically what we've learned, and what we are doing right now. We try to keep doing, especially when the team grows. Like right now we're not that big team, in total we're 12 people, but if the team size doubles, you definitely need a good process and a good company culture as well.
Yeah, and those processes you've learned and implemented can just be scaled up. And so those improvements you've made can then just be ramped up to accommodate double the people without really having to change too much, because you've already improved those processes, which is great.
I mean, with 2 or 3 people, any process would work. Like the challenge is when it grows. That's the whole purpose of this process.
Yeah, of course. Okay, really interesting. And this question I've asked everybody I've done this with so far, and I think it's quite a fun question. But if you could go back in time, so if you could roll the clock back 6 months, what would you have done differently, or what would you have done to prepare for this kind of period, this crisis that we found ourselves in?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a lot of damage or a lot of things that happened to us, but if I had to go back in time, well, I kind of underestimated the benefits we would have from establishing well-organized process, because we're small and so on. But I think even if you're a small company, never underestimate the organization. Like you need to be organized. So that's I would do that, like even before, from the start. It might seem to be like a bit waste of time, but it's actually not. It pays off in the mid and long term.
Yeah, certainly pay. Yeah, like you say, to be organized, have great processes from the start, because it's a lot easier to get those part of the process of the company. It's much harder to do it backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of grateful and thankful for this couple of weeks we work from home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's given you. It sounds like it's given you an insight into the world of the people that work for you, that work remotely, the challenges that they face, so that you're now more aware of it, and you're able to kind of fix that, and like you say, put much better processes in. I mean, I think by the sounds of your answers so far, talking about process and communication, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask you anyway. But so, if there was any specific advice that you would give to businesses moving forward, what would that be?
Yeah, Yeah, as an advice, I mean the answer is not obvious actually. Yeah,
right, okay.
what I would give for as an advice is that always aim for the self-organizing team, and never be dependent on one or two people in the team. Because even though you have, like, let's say in tech, like let's say you have like the best developer ever, and he's fast and he's good, and but there are a lot of areas in the software that it's only him who can do it, and then you have this situation like people can leave, people can go on vacation, people can
Sure.
work from home, and so on. So you don't want that. Even if you see that it's being productive for now, make sure you invest some time in sharing knowledge between team, and aim always for this self-organizing team, because people can go and come, but what stays really is the culture and the self-organizing team. Yeah.
Okay, great. I think that's very sage, very wise advice there, Mohamed. Okay, and lastly, before we sort of finish up, obviously in this new world, in this kind of in the new environment, the new normal that we find ourselves in, that everybody's kind of talking about, I think is important from a staffing perspective and from a recruitment perspective, certainly for companies like ourselves and other recruitment businesses to evolve and adapt. So, I mean, what moving forward and in this new world we're in, what would you ask now of a modern talent partner?
Yeah. A modern talent partner, that's a good word, because I think this field of recruitment and so needs to change. We need some modern talent partner, not just sending CVs and claiming they have the best candidates and so on. I think it's very easy if you just get closer to your partners companies, and even if they're not in need of developers, just get in touch with them, know what their situation is, so you can do a better, at least understanding of their need, and you can do a better filtering and knowing the right candidates for them. So because I receive a lot of profiles sometimes when we're looking for a position. I receive a lot of profiles, and you can see you invite someone to an interview, and it's totally different from what you need. So it might require a lot of work, but I think also it pays off. I think if you have partners that you trust, and also for me, if I have a recruitment agency that I really trust, I will just go to them as soon as I need something.
Yeah, well, I think that makes sense. Having a much closer bond or relationship with between external agency and the company that are hiring. Even more so, and it's I suppose because we can't travel around as much, it's perhaps difficult to do that. But equally, all the tools are at our disposal, like we're doing now on Zoom, for us to kind of to get to know and really understand that culture. So I agree with you. I think that absolutely those relationships between external agency and the hiring company need to be a lot closer. But from both sides, I think it makes sense that the customer puts the time in, as well as the agency, to learn how each other works and what each other want, and I can only see that would benefit the process for thousands of companies out there. So okay, Mohamed, that's great. I've really enjoyed this. It's been great to do this with you. As I said, I know we had a couple of technical issues the first time around, so really pleased that we've concluded it. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.